Hey guys, it's me, Talia Arisa Gibson. You can call me Tag for short. Welcome to my channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Today, guys, I'm here. I don't have food in front of me or anything like that. I'm just here. So I just want to get some content out to you guys, but I don't want to put out, like I said before, anything that I don't feel like I want to do. And so right now, I'm not really wanting to do the mukbangs and all that. So I'm just here just to kind of update you guys. And yeah, feel free to comment down below if you have any questions or ideas, or for something you would like to see in content that does not require mukbangs, and that'll help give me some ideas of what you guys want to see. That would be very helpful. So if you could do that, comment down below and let me know. Or you can DM me on Instagram. I'll put my Instagram right here, and it's Tag for short, and let me know. So how have I been? How have you guys been? First of all, I should ask that first. How have you guys been? I need to go get my nails done, and I was about to go, but then I was like, you know what? I want to put out a video today, so let me stop and do that. But how you guys been? I hope you have been great. I hope that you've been keeping yourself encouraged. I hope you've been giving yourself space to allow yourself to feel, even if you're not in a good place every day. Allow yourself to feel it, and then find a way to motivate yourself and keep going. So how have I been? I've been in a weird funk, and I'm just being honest. I've been in a weird funk. And honestly, I feel like as you grow and get older, you continue to change. And so sometimes change is hard, and sometimes change isn't easy, which is, I just said it's hard. I just repeated myself. It isn't easy. But anyway, you guys know what I mean. And so it could be like you're going through a transition. It could be that you're elevating, or there might just be some processing going on. And I don't always understand it, because sometimes it seems to just come, you know? But one of the things, I wanted to share some things that help me when I'm going through a funk. And I really want to be more consistent, because I have periods of time where I'm very consistent and other times where I'm not. And I'll kind of explain what I mean. So I've been in a weird little funk. Recently we went to Phoenix with my parents. And then I came back, and I've just been kind of in a little bit of a funk. And I think what it is as an adult, and first of all, let me say this. I have a lot of respect for my parents, but at the same time, I feel like there are things that as an adult, you might want to do differently. And so it's hard to sometimes explain that without it coming off as judgment. And I feel like sometimes if I'm trying to express my feelings, it can come off as judgment. And that's not what I mean for it to be. It's coming off as, this is what I want to do for my life. This is what you chose for your life. But this is what I want to do with my life. And one of those things is really, I'm trying to find the words, because sometimes I don't even know how to explain it. One of the things that I'm really, I think, kind of processing is just my spirituality. I believe in God, and I feel like I have a personal relationship with God. I feel like I have real conversations with God. But I just don't get some of the religious behaviors or religious mindsets that I kind of grew up in when it came to church and things like that. And so those are things that I've been kind of trying to think through, because I just don't agree with some of the things or the beliefs. And I feel like, and I don't know, some of you may not understand what I'm talking about. You may not have grown up in what some would call a Black church. And there's different kinds of churches that have Black people in them. But I guess like if I could just name some, like the Baptist church, the Holiness Church, and all these different ones that I've experienced growing up, I feel like as humans have so many rules, and sometimes those rules inhibit people from enjoying life because they're just looking forward to life after death. And a lot of it's based on the Bible and things like that, and just knowing that the belief is that there's just the beauty of afterlife. And the thing about it is there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think it should stifle your enjoyment of life that you get to live in your human body. And I feel like as somebody like me who does believe in God, I believe this beautiful earth was created to be enjoyed, like traveling, going to see different places, being around different people where everybody doesn't look like you or act like you. I find that to be really, really important. And so I find it somewhat challenging when it's hard to have conversations about things like that with someone who may believe completely differently, and maybe set in their ways about their beliefs. And I won't go too in depth, because I feel like when it comes to social media, YouTube, and sharing your story, I know some people will release like tell-alls and things like that. And there's things that I will share about my life and things like that too. But I feel like there's some things that are meant to just be dealt with and spoken with directly to the people that you need to speak about it with, or even with the counselor, things like that. Because sometimes things can be triggering, and not everybody who's watching you on social media can handle what you're putting out. And so I kind of keep those things in mind as well. And also just being respectful of, yeah, I have a right to tell my story, but the next person has a right to decide when they want to share their story. So I'm not going to share other people's stories for them, if that makes sense. But what I'm saying is, sometimes you might grow up, and when you're with your family, you have to really like follow the path of your family, because you're a child and you still need people to nurture and take care of you. But when you get older, and even when you're younger and you start reading for yourself and you start experiencing life for yourself, you might change. And I feel like that change can sometimes come off as like defiance, or being judgmental, or whatever it might be. But it could just be that you're a different person than what you were before, and that's okay. I've always been kind of one of those people who is okay if you don't believe the same thing I believe. Like, I'm not going to say, "Ooh, get away from me because you don't believe in God." I'm not going to be like, "Oh, get away from me because I like men and you don't." Like, I'm not going to be that kind of person, and I've never wanted to be, because I feel like there's good in so many people. And when you put up those barriers, sometimes you don't allow yourself to get to know some people that could really influence your life in a good way. And I feel like if you're solid in your beliefs, like if I say, you know what, I believe in God, if I'm sitting and talking with someone who doesn't, nothing that they say is going to change my mind, because I'm solid in my beliefs. And I feel like when you're solid in who you are and your beliefs, then you won't be persuaded to believe anything else. But you'll also still be respectful that that's another person's belief. And it won't be a conversation where one is trying to get the other to believe what they believe. I feel like there has to be a mutual respect there. So as I kind of work through all of these different things, it can be difficult because when it's family, you can't just like, I don't know, walk away. And it's not that I even would want to walk away, but I feel like, let's say if I meet a friend and we start off together as friends, and then as we're growing up, we're becoming two different people, and our conversations are kind of, they don't align. Like, we don't really have much in common. Like, that friendship would probably just fade off. But it's different when it's family, because you might grow up and then you start to believe a bit differently, or you think differently, but it's not the same where you just leave. And for some people it is. Like, there's some people who don't talk to their family at all. And the thing about it, I would say, I believe like my parents, my sister, my brother, like I believe they're all good people. And each of them in some way I have respect for, and for various reasons, because they're all different people. But at the same time, I just find myself being a little bit different as I'm getting older in my beliefs. And so that can be a little bit of a challenge. So I wanted to share some tips to help you kind of get through things, because when you have a different belief or mindset or idea about life than a family member, sometimes you might want to just keep having conversations and they're never going to go where you want them to go. You have to get to a point where you say, these are your beliefs, I love you, these are my beliefs, and I hope that you'll love me in this. The core belief that me and my family have, when I speak of my family, I talk about my mom, dad, and my siblings, like immediate family, is that we all believe in God. But there's certain lifestyles and rules and things that I feel like I don't believe, as a believer of God, that I have to follow, that they are pushed on you by human rules. And so those are the things that we may not agree on in life. And so what I found is I've tried to have conversations, and sometimes they don't go the right way. And that's because I can't force my beliefs or what I've come to the conclusion of on them, and they also can't do that for me. So I think once you get there, then you realize there's no need for conversations about any of that anymore. Just, you have to let it go. And if I'm being pushed to have that conversation, that's when I'm hard-shelled, where I become like, no, I don't want to talk. Like, just leave me alone. Like, I get really kind of like defensive in a way where I just don't want to be bothered. It's like, just leave me alone. Let me go do my thing, or whatever it may be. And this is just being transparent and honest without telling everything, because I just don't feel the need to. But these are some tips. So when you feel like you've become someone who may be a little bit different than your family, and this is in regards to family, not necessarily friends. When you feel like you've become different and you still love your family with all your heart, you have to get to a point where you may have wanted to change some things or the way some of the beliefs were growing up, but you have to get to a point where you realize you can't go back and change it. And if those beliefs are still the same, it's not your life. You have to live your life. And sometimes that's hard to do. Sometimes you just want to keep talking about it, or like, but why? You want to have reasons for it. Like, why? But you have to realize it's your life. Not everybody wants to do what you're doing or all that, and you have to come to an acceptance of that. And sometimes that's hard. So when it gets hard, you need something to help you get through it. So I'm going to share a couple of things that I've been doing to kind of help me get through. So let me get into it because it's already 15 minutes into this video. So one of those things is journaling. This was a journal my mom gave me. It actually has a scripture on it. I can do everything through him who gives me strength. It's Philippians 4:13. But I've had this journal. Let's see when I started. I'm not going to show you the pages because it's none of your business. But I started this journal on January 2nd, 2018. Now, I could go and pull out all these journals that I have. I started journaling when I was very young. And after my sister passed away, I tore up a lot of those journals from when I was like elementary, junior high, and I wish I hadn't. I hate that I did that, but I don't know. I had an emotional tyrant one day, and I just took those journals and I just tore them apart. And then I started journaling again, probably after that, maybe in high school or college. And I still have all those journals, but I don't have the ones from when I was a child. And I hate that I did that, but can't go back and change it. So this one I started in 2018, but like I said, I have other ones that I completed, and then I move on to a new one. This one is taking me longer because I hadn't been as consistent. So this one is from 2018 all the way till now, 2023. When I first started this journal in 2018, I would just write the date and then just start journaling. And then at some point I changed it, and let me see if I can find where it changed. I think it was 2020. Instead of just journaling my thoughts, I started off with it as a prayer. So I think I started doing that in 2020. No, 2019. Let's see. I'm trying to find when I started it that way. So December 9th, 2019. So it really started on December 10th. I started writing the date, and then it says Dear God, and then I have my journal for that day. And sometimes I'll journal a couple of pages, sometimes it'll be one page, sometimes I only have a few words, and then sometimes I'll skip days. Like this one, January 9th, 2020, I didn't write again until January 15th, 2020. So sometimes they're happy thoughts, sometimes they're frustrated thoughts, sometimes they're just, I don't know what to do. Sometimes it's just gratitude. But it helps to get it down, because sometimes you may not need to talk about it with a friend or a family member, but you need to get it out. So journaling is one of the ways that helps me when I want to get it out, but I know that I can't have the conversation. Because it doesn't go where you would want it to go. A coworker of mine, we did a gift exchange. I think it was around the holidays. And one of the gifts I got was this 5-minute gratitude journal. And I mentioned it in another video. And I haven't been as consistent because I should be like almost done with this book by now. But I did write in it today, but I'll share the one for tomorrow. In this one, it says, in life, one has a choice to take one of two paths: to wait for some special day or to celebrate each special day. Rashid Angunlaru. And then it has some writing prompts. So this one says, so far, what I love most about today: something I wake up to that reminds me what a gift is to be alive. One way I'm already living the life I want. Someone who's given me hope on a bad day. And then it closes with a little affirmation: I am learning to be in love with my life, every minute of it. And then each day is different quote, different prompts, and different affirmation at the end. What I found is probably best to do this like in the late afternoon or evening probably good to do it at the end of the day because, like the prompt says, or maybe midday. So far, what I love most about today. It's hard to answer when you do that first thing in the morning. But you can, like, something may happen, or you might just say, I'm grateful for the sun shining today, or that I opened my eyes. So you could, but just something to consider. So that's another thing, because practicing gratitude when you don't feel good actually makes you feel good. And it's weird. Like, I can't even explain why it does, but I feel like it's just reprogramming your mind to not just focus on what's going wrong or what you aren't happy about. So gratitude journal. And then I've also been doing this journal by Sarah Jakes Roberts. It's called No Woman Left Behind. This is the cover, but it kept falling off, so I just took it off. But basically it's a guided journal. So she has, and I'll kind of go through it, but she has, let me go to a page that I haven't done, but I've gotten pretty far in this book. But she'll have some written things to read, and then there's areas to write as well. So it's a guided journal. There'll be question prompts and things like that. So little motivational pages in there. But I will say, if you don't believe in God, you may not like this one because it is a book with scriptures and things like that. And so I think it's great. It helps you kind of think through some of the things you're going through. And what's crazy is some of the things were just really relevant. Like the one that I did today was just really relevant to like right now, which was kind of crazy. And some are tough. Like some of the question prompts, I had a hard time thinking through, but I really had to like process it. And there was one day where I opened it and I was reading and it got to the written part and I was just like, I can't do it. I don't know what to say. And so I just closed it. And then I came back and today I completed those prompts. But yeah. Also this was, I bought this book. We had, when I was still working for a school district, just one school district, like that's the only one that I worked for at the time. We had it was like a summer professional learning, and there was a guest speaker, and his name was Todd Nesloney, really good speaker, and him and a couple of other writers put this book together. But it's basically a book of just, it's really a motivational book based on where you are. So it's written in seasons. So like it has a couple of different ones for summer, and then you get to fall. So some of them will ask you to write. So there's some pages where I wrote in it, but I've done all of the summer ones. So I'm waiting till the fall starts and then I'll start doing the fall. But it's just, they're one page things, and like this page talks about rest. So just kind of get you thinking. This one talks about gratitude. But yeah, just ways to just kind of motivate or inspire yourself. And yeah, those have been some of the things that I've been doing to just release when I feel like you can't just have the conversation. I will say that I would also recommend, and something that I've been thinking about again, a couple of months back, I found an online counselor, therapist, just because I wanted to have somebody that I could talk to about life. But I've been thinking about like either having like a life coach or looking for another therapist to just talk about things with that when you feel like you can't have the conversation with family or friends. Because sometimes you just need somebody to help you process the thoughts you have, because you can't change people, and that should never be your mission, to change people. And I think that's something, because I wouldn't want anybody trying to change me. But sometimes it's hard when you just don't agree. And it's family. And you love your family. I love my family. But sometimes it's just hard when you don't agree. And I will say this before I close. Please know that as a human being, you can do whatever it is you want to do with your life. You can date who you want to date. You can marry who you want to marry. You can believe what you want to believe. You can live where you want to live. You can have as many children as you want to have. You can decide to not have children. You can decide to never get married. Like, all these decisions that you can make as a human, right? You can make those decisions. It's your life. I get that. But sometimes I think we have to put ourselves in other people's shoes and think about how they might actually feel. And is it worth what you're putting on others? Whatever it may be. And that's something that I think I've learned from all of this. Like, when I do make serious decisions, like if I decide one day that I want to move away from Dallas, like, I would have to think about, is that really the best decision? Because for me, like right now with this job, like I could just pick up and move anywhere I want to go, really. I don't have anything holding me back. But I feel like if I really think about other people, it's not the best thing to do. My parents are getting older. Most of my family is this way. So I feel like the best decision is to live in an area that I like, that's closer to my family. Even though there's parts of me that would want to just get up and move because I want to try living somewhere else. Like, I would totally do it. And probably if I were younger, I would have done it as well. But it's just something I think about for me. But I feel like there's some people who would not be as thoughtful in that way. Because for me, like, if something were to happen, I want to be able to drive if I need to. Go see about my family or whatever it may be. But I don't think everybody would be the same way. And so sometimes I get frustrated with that. But at the same time, I have to remember, I'm me. And I can't compare what other people would do to what I would do. I just have to be me. And that's just what it is. Like, and stop holding people to a bar of what I think should be done in return. Because I'm just me and they are who they are. And I'm not better than anybody. We just all make different decisions. But I feel like if I were to move far away, that's not beneficial to my family. So I would consider that. Now it's different, like if there was an opportunity that I just had to take because it would help me and my family, that's different. But just to get up and go, just to say I want to just try somewhere else, like, it's just, to me, wouldn't be as thoughtful. But not everybody does that, and it gets frustrating. So in those moments, you have to have something to keep yourself encouraged and motivated. And if that includes having therapists or counselor, I tried a therapist online just to have someone to talk to, and she was younger than me, and I just felt like I wanted somebody with a little more life experience. She was nice to talk to, but kind of young in her practice, like probably maybe had only been a counselor for like 4 or 5 years. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I need somebody a little more seasoned and older, but not like out of touch with current life, if that makes sense. But anyway, guys, this video is longer than I intended, but I appreciate you guys for tuning into this video. But I wanted to get on here and just share with you guys how I've been feeling. And also, like, I feel like sometimes on social media in life, people will only share the bubbly good or this or that. And that's okay, because maybe their goal is just to encourage other people or things like that. But I feel like, and that's one of the things as I've gotten older, I really appreciate when people can share when they're not doing so good. And I'm not saying I'm doing horrible, but I just had a moment where I've just been like, I don't know, like, I don't want to dismiss myself from family, but I also just want to be myself, if that makes sense. And sometimes I feel like I'm more of myself when I'm away, and that's hard to swallow sometimes. But I appreciate you guys so much for tuning into this video. As always, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you'll know when I post. Until next time, bye.